Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So something that's quite a common occurrence within the Twilight universe is the Volturi getting what they want. They are the most powerful coven in the vampire world, with an array of gifted and talented members that basically render them undefeatable. They act like a vampire government police force, enforcing their laws in order to protect the vampire race. Now, while many of their laws are justified and there is much truth behind their desire to protect the vampires from the threat of humans who outnumber them by astronomical odds, the Volturi has been known to take advantage of certain situations in order to benefit the coven. Aros, one of the three coven leaders, had somewhat of a hobby for hand-picking the vampires he wanted to join him in Volterra, and as I mentioned a moment ago, the Volturi have some of the most incredibly gifted vampires I've ever seen when it comes to the Twilight universe. You need to enforce loyalty, they have it. You need to see if someone is lying, they have it. Want to inflict a burning pain onto enemies, they've got that, and much more. It's like picking what flavor you want from a menu, such is the Volturi's power. It's why they're so feared and why no one dares to ever cross them. However, Aros is never happy with what he has and always seeks to increase numbers so he can increase power. Not all vampires openly accept an invitation to join them willingly, as they would normally be part of a coven already. It's at that point where the Volturi coincidentally discover law breaking within that coven that holds the gifted vampire that they want, and well, we all know what happens then. Despite Aros' little routine normally being successful, there are 8 vampires who rejected his invitation and lived to tell the tale, along with the coven they belong to, remaining unharmed. Number 8. Safrina. Safrina is an Amazonian vampire who feeds on human blood, but only when necessary. She is an incredibly skilled fighter who decorates her skin with war paint before she enters battle, but is known to actually wear it regularly. Safrina has one of the most unique gifts a vampire could have, as she is able to project illusions into the minds of others. These illusions are so powerful that it's as if the event she's created is actually happening. Safrina can make one see whatever she wants them to see. She can place someone in a desert one minute or deep underwater the next. She displayed her powers for Bella when she arrived in Forks by creating an illusion of the Amazon rainforest for her and Edward, which made the latter smile at just how realistic her creation was. She also has the ability to blind others with the illusion of darkness, something she used on Tanya to prevent her from attacking the Volturi after Irina's execution. She was offered a place in the Volturi Guard after they arrived at Forks, but with Bella's shield protecting her from Chelsea's ability of enforcing loyalty, she was willingly able to turn it down, as the Amazon would always be her home. Still, it's interesting to think how powerful the Volturi would be if they had a vampire that could blind their enemies with total darkness. Frightening. Number 7. Renesmee Cullen. Renesmee Cullen is a very rare and unique half-human, half-vampire hybrid. She was the first natural-born hybrid in millennia, so rare that not even Aros has witnessed something so special in his 3,000 years as a vampire. Same goes for Caius and Marcus. Renesmee had the ability to communicate with others through touch and could also break through the mental defenses. The gift was just the base of her powers, and there's no telling of the potential she could reach as she gets older and continues to practice and harness such a power. Aros was widely intrigued by her uniqueness and would love to brag that the Volturi had the first vampire hybrid in their ranks. However, as much as he desired her, he knew that Bella and Edward would never allow such a decision, knowing that they would have to be taken care of in order to make this move. So, he never made her an offer to join him. Yet. Number 6. Bella Swan. Aros has always had a desire for Bella since she was human, and was greatly intrigued to see the vampire she would become. Bella was able to display her shield ability against Aros himself and Jane during her visit to Volterra while human, indicating she would be almost certain to have a special supernatural ability upon her transition into a vampire. As we know, Bella was able to harness her shield ability to block out even the strongest members of the Volturi in the confrontation with them during Breaking Dawn, once again impressing Aros while frustrating Jane. Like her daughter, in addition to knowing the sinister individual Aros truly was, there was no chance she would ever align herself with him or any of his coven. She declined this offer to join with no hesitation. Number 5. Kate. Kate was quite a powerful vampire and also a member of the Denali coven. She was incredibly strong, fast and agile despite being a vegetarian. After transitioning into a vampire, Kate developed the ability to be able to channel an electric shock that she could project through an individual by touch. She could decide how powerful the shock is and has shown how devastating an offensive move it is on the battlefield. Aros loved Kate's coldness and had never witnessed a vampire with an electricity-charged ability. He immediately extended an invite to Kate more than once. The first after her maker, Sasha, was executed for creating an immortal child, and the second after the confrontation with the Cullens over Renesmee. She declined both times. Number 4. The Black and Ulay Pacts. Okay, they're not vampires, I know, and you're probably wondering why the hell they're on this list, as the Volturi despise werewolves and strictly forbid any sort of interaction with them. Well, the Pacts weren't actually children of the moon, werewolves, the actual Volturi's enemy. They were shapeshifters. The Volturi did confuse the two, Kai's especially. However, Aros was fascinated at how the Cullens and the wolves stood side by side, because they were actually willing to fight for the Cullens if it came to it, to fight for vampires. He thought that the vampires had somehow managed to tame them to their bidding, and the thought of using the wolves as guard dogs crossed his mind, which could make the Volturi even more unstoppable than before. He quickly realized that it was he himself all along, with the other Volturi members' presence, that caused the wolves to unite with the Cullens, as they had been settled in the area without incident for decades on end. Number 3. Edward Cullen. Aros highly valued Edward because they shared the ability of being able to read another's mind. While Aros could only do so through touch, Edward could read minds from a distance without the need for contact, which Aros thought was very beneficial and perhaps something he could learn. He actually valued Edward so highly that he refused to destroy him when Edward requested an execution due to his depression over losing Bella, who he believed to be dead, citing that Edward was too valuable of a vampire to kill. He offered Edward a place in the Volturi instead of death, which Edward declined. Even before this encounter, Aros had invited Edward into the coven many times previously, to which Edward declined every time, as like Bella, he knew the person Aros truly was. Number 2. Benjamin. Benjamin is a member of the Egyptian coven alongside Amun, Kabi and Tia. He is incredibly powerful and uniquely gifted with the power to manipulate and control the elements of nature: water, fire, earth and wind. He's the only known vampire in existence and the history of the species to have such a gift, which made him incredibly rare and valuable. Amun, the coven's leader, was all too well aware of Benjamin's powers and feared that the Volturi would attack his coven in order to prize him away, just like they did when Dimitri was once a member. For these reasons, Amun wanted no confrontation with Aros at any point. The Volturi leader heavily desired to add Benjamin to his coven and extended an invitation to him in Breaking Dawn, but under the protection of Bella's shield, was able to resist Chelsea's influence and decline the offer. Number 1. Alice. There is no vampire on the planet that Aros desires more than Alice Cullen. Despite his coldness towards the Cullens as a coven, his face lights up with delight every time he sees her. Alice's gift of being able to see into the future is something no vampire in history has ever obtained. Aros wishes to use her gift in order to be able to see the outcome of situations and battles, so he can then make adjustments in the present if the visions of the future don't go in his favour. He believes the Volturi will be guaranteed victory in every circumstance if he could somehow harness her power for the Coven's benefit. The whole reason he travelled to Forks was to add Alice to his collection. Though his intent was disguised, through false concern over Renesmee Cullen's future. After they destroy the Cullens, he would pardon Alice and grant her a place in the coven. However, as Aros witnessed in her vision, he, along with Marcus, Caius, Jane, Alec and many other highly valuable Volturi vampires, would all be destroyed, causing him to retreat, which further highlights just how beneficial Alice's powers are, as they basically prevented his certain death. Guys, why not continue your journey on the Vampire Folklore channel by watching my ultimate Twilight playlist right here. You can find out the history of Jane and Alec, you can find out why Carlisle left the Volturi, you can even find out why Marcus said finally just before he was killed in Breaking Dawn in Alice's vision. It's all here, it's all in this card, just click it to continue your viewing experience.